Imagine living in a world where the line between life and death is drawn by the whims of one man. A man who believes he is chosen by destiny to rule, yet whose name is synonymous with terror. Welcome to Uganda under the reign of General Idi Amin, a man who unleashed a storm of violence and paranoia that left a nation bleeding. Welcome to History Echo, where we talk about histories of the past connecting to the future. And tonight we will be talking about a terror who once ruled Uganda, General Idi Amin. Idi Amin wasn't born a monster, but life molded him into one. Born in 1925 in a remote village in northern Uganda, Amin grew up in an environment where survival was a daily battle. At just 21, he joined the British colonial army, where his brute strength and fearlessness caught the attention of his superiors. He was a natural soldier, ruthless, loyal, and eager to please. But beneath this loyalty lay a dangerous ambition. As Uganda gained independence, Amin rose rapidly through the ranks of the military. He was a man of contradictions, charismatic yet cold-blooded, jovial in public, but terrifyingly unpredictable in private. Those who worked with him learned quickly that crossing him meant death, and those who praised him became pawns in his deadly game of power. In 1971, the storm that had been brewing within Amin finally erupted. President Milton Obote, the man who had once trusted Amin as his right hand, was away at a conference. Amin saw his chance and took it. In a lightning-fast coup, he seized control of the government, declaring himself the new leader of Uganda. The people, tired of Obote's repressive rule, celebrated in the streets, unaware that they had just invited a wolf into the fold. Amin's public persona was one of strength and confidence. He promised to restore Uganda's dignity and bring prosperity to its people. But behind the scenes, a darker reality was unfolding. Amin's paranoia spiraled out of control, and his thirst for power became insatiable. He saw enemies everywhere, and in his mind, the only way to secure his position was to eliminate them, by any means necessary. Idi Amin's reign was not just a dictatorship. It was a reign of terror. Almost immediately, he began purging anyone he considered a threat. Politicians, soldiers, journalists, and even ordinary citizens were rounded up, tortured, and executed in secret. Uganda's prisons overflowed with the bodies of the dead and dying, and mass graves became a grim part of the landscape. Amin's brutality was beyond comprehension. Reports began to surface of horrific acts, people being thrown into rivers infested with crocodiles, bodies left to rot in the streets as a warning to others. It was said that Amin personally ordered the execution of entire villages, their inhabitants wiped out in the blink of an eye. His regime was a nightmare that devoured its own children, leaving behind only fear and silence. As the years passed, Amin's grip on reality weakened, and his madness deepened. He declared himself president for life, field marshal, and lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea. He was obsessed with his image, dressing in elaborate military uniforms adorned with medals of his own design. But behind the grandiose titles and uniforms was a man driven by paranoia, convinced that everyone was plotting against him. In 1972, Amin took his insanity to new heights by ordering the expulsion of Uganda's Asian population. Over 60,000 people were given just 90 days to leave the country, their businesses and homes seized by the state. This move crippled Uganda's economy, but Amin didn't care. He saw it as a way to rid the country of what he called economic saboteurs, and to consolidate his power. By the late 1970s, Amin's Uganda was a nation on the brink of collapse. The economy was in ruins, international sanctions were biting, and his once loyal soldiers were beginning to question his leadership. But Amin's downfall would come from an unexpected source. In 1978, in a fit of hubris, he launched an invasion of neighboring Tanzania. It was a disastrous mistake. Tanzanian forces, bolstered by Ugandan exiles, launched a counterattack that would drive Amin's forces out of Tanzania and back into Uganda. As the Tanzanian army advanced on Kampala, Amin's bravado finally crumbled. His soldiers deserted him, and his government collapsed. On April 11, 1979, Amin fled Uganda, escaping to Libya, and later Saudi Arabia, where he lived out the rest of his days in quiet exile. Idi Amin's story is a harrowing tale of how power can corrupt absolutely, turning a once promising soldier into a brutal dictator who terrorized his own people. But Amin's story doesn't end with his exile. The scars he left on Uganda run deep, and the echoes of his reign can still be felt today. What drove this man to such extremes? And what lessons can we learn from his brutal legacy? Let us know in the comments section. In our next episode, we'll delve into the fall of one of the greatest empires in the world and how it crumbled. Don't miss it. Subscribe to History Echo, hit that notification bell, and prepare yourself for another chilling chapter in the annals of history. Until next time, remember, history is not just the past, it's a mirror reflecting our present.